Hello guys and welcome back. It is me, the Procrastinator, back here with another reaction to CinemaWins. This time we're watching Everything Great About Spider-Man Far From Home. I don't think this will be a two-parter or three-parter thing. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I will do the next parts whenever they come out. Like, this video just came out like an hour. When did it come out? I know it came out today. Wow. They don't tell me exact moment, but okay. I can probably look at my thing. I'll pull up my phone and see when it came out. It came out very recently, okay? Let me see. It came out an hour ago. I thought that was that, but it came out like an hour ago for me. And I just wanted to do this because, to be honest, I was actually waiting for this one to come out. Because, like, as you know, probably know, I don't really do reactions to a lot of CinemaWins, CinemaSins stuff or whatever. I only do them when I feel like there's a movie that I really wanted them to do for a while. So like any of the Marvel stuff, I'll probably do CinemaWins. I will not do CinemaSins because I've actually stopped liking them because for me it just got too negative over there. Like just too nitpicky and stuff, like stuff I thought have more sense, just my opinion, but stuff I thought would be not a problem at all or anything, they would send just for, I get for sometimes comedy, sometimes parody, but sometimes it feels like they actually mean what they say, to be honest. But like I said, it could just be me. A lot of people still like them. Good for them. But I'll stick with CinemaWins because a lot more positive. I like positivity and a lot more detail into stuff. If CinemaSins actually started doing like where they actually went into detail about some things or whatever, I might actually start watching them again, but until then, I will only do CinemaWins, and that'll probably only be whenever they do like a Marvel movie, or if there's every movie that I've been wanting them to do for a while that they finally do. Like if for some reason, if they ever do any of the Chronicles of Riddick, Pitch Black, or the Riddick movie, or Iron Giant, or the rest of the Transformer movies, because I kind of want to see what they think about that, or they've already done Star Wars. I don't know. I don't really know which other movies I would like them to do. So if you if you ever want me to react to something, just go tell the guy who runs CinemaWins to do a movie I like. I don't do request on there because I don't feel like my stuff I'm probably one of the few that would ever request it. So I mean, I could just do a frequent requesting, but nah. So yeah, this will be the last one for as far as I can tell, this will be the last CinemaWins reaction I'll do until a new Marvel movie comes out or until something. So yeah, this will be a special. It'll be the last one for a while probably. But with that said, let me actually talk about the movie because when did it come out? Hold on, let me look at it. Because I actually really liked it. It was it came out June. I haven't watched it since June. So I may forget like a few things or whatever. I probably will. My memory is strange. I can remember TV shows and that released, but any of this stuff I'll forget on the spot, but whatever. Yeah, the Peter Tingle scene, I freaking loved that. All the illusions, I thought they were awesome. The illusion scene is my favorite scene. Besides, they're right below having J. Jonah Jameson back. Cause I'll be honest, when I went to go see the movie and I saw J.K. Simmons back for that, I actually almost jumped out of my seat and started cheering. Which would have been hilarious because it was like me, my friend, and like a few other people there. So yeah, so I didn't see exactly in June. I saw like a little bit after. Yeah, I almost started cheering on that part. I did not cheer, thankfully, but I wanted to. I think to give you an idea, that's pretty much the only time I've ever wanted to cheer in a movie scene. Besides like when Captain America lifted Mjolnir. That who dares call me? I shall be back. I'm back. I know not who called me, but I think it was spam or scam or whatever. Unimportant calls. But where was I? Yeah, those are the only two scenes I've ever actually cheered for. Besides, like, Tony's death, I start crying for. Yeah, I don't get emotional like that, if you can't tell. I always like to keep the thing of being kind of a calmer person. So I don't do big reactions. I mostly just do jokes and stuff. But yeah, that was one of the things that made me almost cheer. So yeah, if you ever see me cheer at a scene or whatever, just know it really affected me a lot because, like I said, I don't do that a lot. But anyway, tell me before we begin the video, tell me what your favorite scene of the entire movie was, or what something you didn't like or did like or whatever. Because if you do, I might go read them or might respond to them. Maybe, I don't know. But enough with that. Let us begin the video because I am curious and I want to see it. So video begin in 3, 2, 1, play.
Match cut logo opening.
That hurt.
Whitney Houston, always a win? Probably.
Yes.
But combining our grief with the people inside the MCU's grief, but also flipping it for comedy because, you know what? No one felt Tony's death like Peter did.
True.
Well, maybe Pepper and Morgan, and Happy, and Cap arguably knew him longer. Look, Peter has a connection to Tony that none of the inhabitants of Midtown Tech can even imagine.
Double true.
So of course they don't get it. But they do use the most mournful of fonts, Comic Sans. And I imagine it would be tricky to find a high-res picture of Vision. Not to mention the shoestring budget. They aren't paying for stock footage or keeping boom mics out of the shop.
The Avengers even like a thing anymore?
Still, my favorite thing from Homecoming brought over to Far From Home is the connection made between kids in-universe and us. Together, we're all outsiders looking in on the MCU, even if we have more information.
Does anyone even have a plan?
I have a plan. Okay,
Good job.
First,
yeah,
I'm gonna sit next to MJ on the flight.
I'm old, but little in the MCU has been as relatable as that for me. Sure, your mentor is dead, and the world has barely recovered from the insanity of Infinity War and Endgame, but Peter's had a lot longer to process that. Plus, Peter Parker can't be as upset as Spider-Man. But trying to orchestrate a scenario in which you get to sit next to your crush on a plane ride for a school trip is just... it's leagues more important.
Yep, I've definitely done that before.
Sarcasm.
Did not work for me at all.
I was a teenage boy.
I think that went really good.
I was too.
Optimism.
Thank you, Miss Parker, for having me, and thank you guys for having me.
Speaking of relatability, I always nail public speaking almost exactly like that.
New dress?
Same.
Yes, it is.
I can't speak in public.
Oddly successful flirting. Crusher Hogan is a fun comic nod to Peter's first in-the-ring foe, but Bonesaw McGee was adapted from Bonesaw McGraw, who's my Peter's first opponent. You know, this one.
Hello, Bonesaw.
Talk to him. Now I have to talk to him. I don't want to talk to him.
Well, why don't you want to talk to him?
Because I'm scared.
Genuine candor. Opening curtains with the instant kill limbs. That's some resourcefulness.
Yeah,
They
really.
don't do a whole lot in terms of Peter's lack of money, but a cracked phone screen means he's most likely not living off of any of Tony's money.
Yeah.
So definitely not an Avengers level threat, meaning maybe it's just not important enough for the Peter tingle, but really it's the beginning of Peter's arc in this movie and the constant struggle, true of all Spider-Men, of what's most important to them. He's toiling over the decision when the banana hits him. More in the conclusion.
Please do not start calling.
Sorry pausing, I've gotten to the habit of that, but one thing I did think about what was going on with the Peter tingle or whatever is that it went into overdrive when he got snapped, which allowed him to give that scene that actually made me almost start crying. But it went into overdrive to tell him what was going on and that he was going to die and all that. So I had feeling that when he came back and when he got back, he instantly went into another fight, like it had been life or death, and then the giant grenade things, then losing Tony and all that. I had my thought was that his senses got fried during all that, especially during the death thing. So my thought was he was like a little off or whatever. That could just be me. Like she said, he also was focusing on other things, but just because that if I could be wrong, he always had the senses going off no matter what. Usually with shit, he had to actually react to them or use them or whatever to dodge from everything. So I just kept thinking that they got fried when he got snapped and everything. So it took him a bit longer to fully come back. So I don't really know how long it's been between Endgame and now. Like I think it's like a few days or weeks after. So Yeah, coming back from the dead after you knew you're about to die like that, probably take a bit getting used to, maybe. Like I said, could you be me? Tell me what you guys thought. Do you agree with me, or do you agree with him, or do you have, this CinemaWins guy, or do you have your own opinions? Because I really want to know what everybody's theories about what happened to his spider powers, spider sense, Peter Tingle. Alright, enough about that. Sorry, begin, go.
Peter Tingle.
I guess everyone was right. He does not have Spidey sense. I have the exact same sign for a light switch that turns my PC off. But that power strip should absolutely be turned off because it's an insane fire hazard. But more importantly, how cool is this storage/charging unit, which very easily establishes exactly why Peter won't be bringing the Iron Spider suit with him. So it's like a Pythagorean theorem joke. It's 54.59? I don't understand what that has to do. Oh, he found X.
Did I say how my wife pretended to blip out?
See, I don't think you could get Guilfoyle to care about something so petty, but it's another great example of the little yet meaningful touches the MCU has had on this universe.
I love it. I won't see the
problems we can relate to. So do we know if 9/11 happened in the MCU? I guess it's not impossible to think Paul Greengrass could do 2 documentaries of that type. Also, every single one of those is a totally believable documentary. Keeping up with the last movie's picks of Spoon, The Ramones, A Flock of Seagulls, this time using Umberto Tozzi, an Italian songwriter, fits in well when they're going to Venice, and follows through on the tone set in Homecoming. Let's just take a moment to appreciate Tom Holland's more subtle humorous touches. These glances.
What just happened?
Please, no.
If Spider-Verse taught us anything, it's that anyone can be Spider-Man, so she probably sees a Spidey suit with every other passenger. If I were Peter, I would immediately be thinking, oh, cool, crane in case I know, come on. Sometimes realism makes you happy you're no longer in high school. Dude, that is Quentin already stalking Peter. And the speechwriter guy. I also just want to point out that the continuity of the rose salesman throughout this scene from cut to cut is 100% perfect. Looking back with hindsight, it's all surprising we didn't immediately think they were drones. But it could go either way, hinting at but not giving away the twist. Obviously, this helped.
True.
Webs go through water, but webs also go through holographic projections. Yeah, he did it on wires, but let's just remind ourselves that Tom Holland is the most real-life version of Spidey we've ever gotten and does so many of his own stunts, even this one. You know you're doing something right if action scenes without Spidey are still super thrilling.
I'm really strong and I'm sticky!
Scripted miss win.
I need to lead it away from the canal!
I've talked about this feeling before, the I know how strong and sticky Peter is, so when someone else acknowledges it, it gives you the rush of being on the inside. Usually a superhero would say something like, get out of here, kid. But in an effort to make us like Mysterio, which it did,
I trusted him for a while.
Asks for help, and it lines up with his foreknowledge about who Peter is while endearing Peter to him. Also, now that's an entrance. Peter Parker can just not get away from bell towers. Seriously. Anyone else think it's weird that Mysterio uses Bill's cipher as magic?
No, I don't.
Priorities.
BuzzFeed says there's a sailor named Morris Bench who was...
The idea that Hydro Man exists in the MCU makes Mysterio's illusion work even better. No doubt he's been doing research on all these Spidey rogues. Or at least Morris Bench, Flint Marko, Andre Gerard, and Mark Raxton.
Who was that guy that you were with? Was that Mr. Strange?
Mr. Doctor.
No.
He's just awesome, okay? He protects the neighborhood and, you know, he's inspiring.
He is inspiring, especially with that low-angle pose.
See if anyone needs any emotional counseling. I'm not really qualified to do it anyway, so...
Thank you.
Honesty.
Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown.
Did Fury just Shakespeare version Great Power, Great Responsibility, Peter?
Doc said you wouldn't get that because it's not a Star Wars reference.
Not a Star Wars reference is a Star Wars reference. And it's interesting you invoke Star Wars as you hand Peter an insanely powerful weapon. Wise Man once said, we're keepers of the peace, not soldiers. Getting the glasses sort of feels like being on the council but not being granted the rank of Mass Iron Man. Everything about Beck and Jake makes you want to love him. Look at his suit and that cape.
Mr. Beck is from Earth, just not yours.
Ha, yours because Earth isn't Talos's. Well played.
This is Earth, Dimension 616. I'm from Earth 833.
Ah, I see Beck is a comic fan. He's lucky Peter isn't.
Don't ever apologize for being the smartest one in the room.
That's like a calling card of a Tony Stark-inspired villain.
Thor was a myth, and now I study him in my physics class.
Which is a perfect setup for this premise. Playing off the ridiculousness of the MCU and its varying characters, neither we nor people living in the universe would ever question it for a second.
I mean, I'm just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, sir.
Bitch, please, you've been to space.
I love that line.
That's a point.
Captain Marvel.
Don't invoke her name.
Always new and inventive ways to say Sony doesn't own and can't afford those characters.
Edith stands for Even Dead, I'm the Hero.
I think a better name for Edith would have been Edims, as in Even Dead, I motivate supervillains. Checks out.
I'm the hero.
Yep. Also practical.
I know you think none of us have noticed, Peter, but your new look, I love it.
Compliments. The school is the Tigers, but I'm gonna say this is more for go get 'em, Tiger.
Yes,
Possibly.
ma'am. Yeah.
That's the second yeah from Hill after Peter mammed her.
Hi, ma'am. Yeah.
Don't you know any better, Peter? In America, you don't mam women who look under 105 years old. And Kobe Smulders
Really?
doesn't look a day over 23.
Parker.
Another match cut. It's not the most complicated cut in the history of filmmaking, but seeing John Watts evolve his craft like this is really fun.
He's not bored. He's just thinking about how you kidnapped him.
Am I the only one
True.
that's sad he doesn't just join the Avengers instead?
I know.
Defending Peter, joking around?
I wish he joined.
Am I the only one?
And then that Mr. Beck.
No, you're not.
My name is Mysterio. Peter, listen to me. The best hope you have?
Love how Mysterio puts it back on Peter, the best hope you have, because he's again endearing us to him as well as Peter, even if he seems to be putting Fury and Hill on edge. Which is probably why Fury Los lays into Peter. Seriously, Fury's a tough guy, but Talos?
You felt bad about snapping at you.
Really?
You guys do have sarcasm on this earth, right? You're not a jerk for wanting a normal life, kid.
Jake, man, how do you nail discontented hero who failed but has fight left in him, letting his softer side out since he can relate to another hero?
You look really pretty.
Therefore, I have values.
I'm messing with you. Thank you.
Flirting.
You're welcome.
You look pretty too.
Flirting.
Thank you.
Flirting.
Chemistry. How have I never used chemistry as a win before? This is chemistry. Peter
Biology.
doesn't even skip a beat.
How's the suit?
The suit's great. It's a little tight around the old web shooter.
Tight wrist cuffs can be a problem, especially with a bulky mechanical web shooter. Toby
Sure.
Parker has the edge there. Teamwork. Yeah, that makes
Yay.
sense. The burning of the webs could even be an illusion, but I have to assume there's some actual fire happening here.
Possibly.
The old temporal protector and folder stationary shield.
I'm getting you in the Ferris wheel.
Okay, I'm on it.
I like how hearing the fight is essentially the same thing since nothing is actually happening. So they draw it out a bit to nail the idea home. Rocks, bullet holes, who could tell the difference?
Whatever happens, I'm glad we met.
Seeing Beck's face makes this moment feel completely genuine,
Beck, what are you doing?
What I should have done last time.
but only hearing his voice lends a little bit of scenery chewing. You can almost picture him in his mocap suit hiding in the background, hamming it up. It also
Yeah, I
probably
can see that
rings
so
false
much.
in general because we're barely halfway through the movie, one of the many hints that are dropped throughout.
I would totally kiss you, but I think I just threw up in my mouth a little.
I might have a mint.
Quick thinking. Man,
Yeah,
I watched this
good for him.
scene like 35 times looking for a hint of Will, not realizing that all three of them are in the establishing shot of the bar.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god, thank you so much.
Even the glasses being on the ground had to be part of Beck's plan. It's not like a pickpocket would be hard to come by.
I actually really like him.
Can I be completely honest with you? They look really stupid, but maybe they have a contact lens version of them.
Compliments. Couldn't agree more. This entire scene is like a masterclass of manipulation, so don't learn anything from it. But Beck scolds
I will
Peter for
learn.
the glasses irresponsibly being on the ground, negs him about how they look, calls him kid while looking as sexy as Tony ever did in them, and then uses basic reverse psychology to convince Peter to hand them over. And actually, in hindsight, how many times was Telnick actually coming down hard on Peter?
Mr. Stark would have really
A whole
liked
lot.
you.
He has no comment.
I'm gonna go find MJ.
I'll give you about a 50-50 chance. You're pretty awkward, so.
Truth.
He renamed my life's work. Barf.
That's what you get for thinking you were Jobs when you were clearly Wozniak.
Said I was unstable.
Well,
It's not wrong.
But I love this personality shift from self-assured, wise, a man who's seen things, to jealous, resentful, a little unhinged, spiteful control freak. Both were geniuses, but the personality paired with the loss of magical powers traded for tech and illusion.
And apparently exactly the kind of thing people will believe right now.
Again, taking digs at the audience. Smart way to make us slowly stop loving him. I still
Yeah.
love him.
To Mysterio!
And either way, I love Jake. In a few seconds, he went from Charles Xavier meets Captain America to Yellow Jacket meets Jordan
Yellow
Belfort.
You know, they used
Sure.
to execute people on this bridge. Put them in a basket and they would drown in the water.
It's not Peter's fault. His little guide said that this was one of the most romantic places in Prague. But again, their conversations are so real, and we finally start to see through MJ's dark trivia facade and understand why she does it.
MJ, I
did like the fact, though.
Peter Washington? The fact that you, like, disappear out of nowhere for no reason.
Always love a good fourth wall break when a smart character says the things we all mostly pretend don't matter. To be fair, Watts and Co. do their best to address it.
And if I'm seen like this in Europe after the Washington Monument, my whole class will figure out who I am. I am Spider-Man.
Honesty. Okay,
Yeah.
so Beck is not only the director, he's also the lead talent in a mocap suit, and he wrote the first screenplay while Guterman punched it up and finalized the script. Ralphie and Victoria work on visual effects and CGI.
Yeah.
Janice is like the casting director / costume designer by the end. It's an indie film, no doubt. Everyone wears multiple hats.
It's going to cause a lot of casualties.
Oh yeah, more casualties, more coverage.
Okie dokie.
True.
You win. He's a bad guy. Tom
Yeah.
Holland's workout routine.
I'll see ya.
Monkey is a proper name in this context, but Knight isn't? Is Spider-Man Spinna Man in German? That
I hope
sounds
so.
Pretty much the same. Nothing more relatable than that, though I can't imagine how many seatbelts I would rip out of the spool if I had Spidey strength.
Yeah, I hate when it happens.
Well, that's
never
what
mind.
you get for writing a win before the scene is over. Realism! And another perfect example of how Mysterio is a master of deception and manipulation. Starting off simple, just a holographic drone, the one thing Peter objectively knows to be behind the curtain. Then he slowly drops the gauntlet. This scene captures comic Mysterio so perfectly, so unnerving, giving these brief reprieves make the glass shattering even worse. And the entire thing lands us all somewhere between respecting Mysterio's genius and being thoroughly terrified.
Yeah, I'm scared of him.
How many layers deep do we go, Zygerian scammers? My, however, did Beck know that Peter wanted to take MJ up to the Eiffel Tower?
Go to the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Literally coaxed it out of him. This takes a bad trip to a whole new level, because he's on vacation.
I created Mysterio to give the world.
He says while putting Peter on top of Cap's shield design, another man Peter definitely doesn't think he lives up to. Iron Zombie. Also, those are Black Widow spiders.
Ah.
Seriously, this is insane and ripped from the comics in the best way possible. Apparently Will is slacking right now because these agents are barely moving at all.
It's easy to fool people when they're already fooling themselves.
Smart play to show everything around Fury disappearing to use his image as the final trick. Even funnier when you realize Sam Jackson is playing Beck, pretending to be Talos, pretending to be Fury.
A lot of pretending.
Another Spidey sense failure that lines up with my theory that it fails him because he's distracted by non-Spidey things like MJ and his friend's safety. You may not know what KNVB stands for, that's Konish Colors Never the Final, but you probably know orange is the Dutch color.
You guys are nice.
And playing into the most accurate positive stereotypes about the Dutch gets a win.
Can I borrow your phone?
Yep, take her.
Everyone is so nice here.
Look, it's a beautiful shot, iconic windmill with the famous tulips, all very Dutch, but the anxiety this shot gave me the first time thinking about all those tulip petals being blown away by the jet's engines.
Oh, they're fine.
Everywhere I go, I see his face.
That's no joke. And like I'll get into later, you have to remember that people aren't weeping over Iron Man. These murals are hero murals to honor him, even if it's easy for us to get upset seeing them, just like Peter.
You're not Iron Man. You're never gonna be Iron Man.
The most helpful words for Peter to hear. They seem harsh, but what he needed was someone to release him from Tony's shadow. He doesn't need to be Iron Man, no matter how much the world wants to push it on him. Although for someone who isn't Tony's replacement, he's doing a lot of Tony things.
What?
He's very good being Tony.
Nothing.
Ha! Someone accusing Spidey #1 fan of having bot followers. And that one doesn't help.
Oh, I love Led Zeppelin!
Stop doing that, okay? It is weird. No more photos in the bathroom. Urinal or stalls.
Paparazzi etiquette advice.
Over at Mr. Stark's going through his belongings, apparently there was a surfboard that you left behind.
So, Happy knows that the first time Talos came to Earth, he impersonated a surfer, meaning Happy's in on it. They're all in on it. There's the writer again.
We need to have a serious conversation about you and my aunt!
Appropriate timing, Win?
All the elementals there somehow merged into something.
Into something else. Something more powerful.
Not only is it a movie production, he's also kind of like a politician. Look at his thumbs. That's the non-offensive politician hand gesture. He's even got a speechwriter.
This is going well so far?
Being sticky.
Stay sticky.
I gotcha.
Saving your boss/husband. Something about seeing the unshakable Queen's Guard firing automatic rifles at evil drones puts a smile on my face.
Poor Happy.
Do that!
Vibranium makes great frisbees, just ask Ultron. Yep, using a car as protection as he pulls himself up into the air. Hot dang, this is some fun camera work.
Lot of drones. What? Tony makes them many.
Special. Sure, he's got powers, but he uses his brain so much in this fight, he doesn't need other people's tech. That's so brutal.
I saved this guy.
If you saved us, then why are we about to die?
MJ, always the realist. I guess he had some cap in him after all.
Yep.
And again, ingenuity over relying on a suit.
Come on, Peter Tingle.
Best scene ever here.
Yes, this is so satisfying. The silence only breaking when Peter disables a drone. This is an epic finale that's still so intimate and personal. Also, since they talked about it already, we're not gonna ignore this, right?
Use the Force, Luke.
Why aren't these drones firing?
You're in the strike zone.
No, fire all the drones now!
Hey, this is cool finally.
Yes, sir. Next level Peter Tingle.
Give me the spear. That's a helper.
That's how we knew. I don't care if you bring him back because I still love him, but there is a bit of stinging irony that Mysterio's dying words could be interpreted by Peter as essentially,
and nowadays, they'll believe anything.
Even that I'm dead, when they're most likely just a reference to his little contingency expose Peter plan. Only a handful of people knew Mysterio's true identity. Hugging. Love.
I wasn't just watching you because I thought you were
Spider-Man.
The difference between MJ and Rue. Zendaya is a freaking star.
Sorry, it's broken.
I actually like it better broken.
I really like you.
Oh man, that makes seeing really difficult. Chemistry. He clearly likes her either way, but something about a statement like that, usually the type of quirky, oh, I'll put up with the weirdness because I like everything else. No, he likes her because of statements like that. Captures the idea of real love better than lots of other stories.
I should probably get back to
We'll have
the
to be
class.
together.
I'll go and, yeah, I don't know.
And thank you for keeping it awkward.
Could Mother not make it?
I'm really starting to see an Agent Venom future here. A little PS4 nod. A
Look at that, cool.
yup. And some more yup. Love a long take that draws some parallels to how Marvel is so excited to show you what comes next in Phase 4 since this marks the end of Phase 3.
You're gonna love this.
No, it's not.
Snorri cam of terror and also appropriate reaction.
Pretty fun.
She's fine. Hashtag no filter, hashtag not chopped. So that confirms it. It's not black. It's just very, very, very dark blue. Nah, it's
There you have it, folks. Conclusive proof.
J.K. Simmons is always a win. I knew he'd be back. In fact, I may have called it. He is the only man for the job. This is fan service no one can possibly complain about. And as a side note, this is the first movie that Stan Lee hasn't appeared. But he once said that J. Jonah is based on him if he was an angry guy, so bringing the OG JJJ back feels like a little tip of the hat to Stan.
Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker. What the?
Oh man, now those are some stakes and consequences for Peter's actions. This will fundamentally change this universe and go in a direction we've never seen before in a Spider-Man film.
I'm really curious about how it goes.
Spider-Verse, but that was different. And speaking of the end of Phase 3, the first movie from Phase 1 ended similarly.
And so we need to come back, because everyone kept asking me where the Avengers are, and I don't know what to say to that.
Another solid reason for no Avengers showing up. This was also a fun little twist, but personally I don't think Nick was gone any longer than between the funeral and now, so don't hold your breath to find out it was Talos, actually, that got shot in Winter Soldier. Always fun to theorize anyway, so let your imaginations run wild. Retcons exist for a reason. Far From Home reminds me of another movie where a good guy is semi-secretly a bad guy and serves both sides of the coin equally well. I'm actually working on it now and it's coming later. That's all I'll say. But Jake Gyllenhaal was born to play this type of role. He's always likable, and then once the switch is flipped, you feel like you should have been able to see it the whole time. Tom Holland was as great as ever. I don't want to take anything away from him because he brings his A game to every film. But Jake gets the MVP award. This is a reminder of his range. Even comic fans who know who Mysterio is couldn't have been 100% sure where his personality would land after his heart-to-heart with Peter. And I love that he goes off the rails obsessive and wacky. There's still a part of me that wants this version of Mysterio to exist, and the fact that he's not a stoic bad guy to match his good guy facade makes it like two separate characters. I love it. But his two characters play into the main theme of Far From Home, and it has a lot to do with the Peter Tingle, which I'm done saying in Spidey sense. Interesting that the thing everyone was mad about because it wasn't really present in Homecoming is the focus of the sequel. But they also don't belabor it, and it serves a different purpose than it did in Spider-Man 2. As all Spider-Men do, Peter struggles with wanting to have a normal life while the world is constantly asking him to save it. It's deliberate that he's deciding whether to take the suit when this happens. The suit represents the potential to mess up his plans with MJ and leads to less time with her. And then this happens right after Beck has just told him all his friends are gonna die. But his entire relationship with Beck is one long lack of Spidey sense because Beck plays into Peter's fears in subtle ways, even by just being amazing and humble. It adds to Peter's self-doubt. There's another theory that the Night Monkey goggles were calibrated incorrectly to let in enough Spidey sense so he senses that Beck is there when they're up, but can't when they're down. The other theory I think at least plays a part is that the last time we see Peter use it, it landed him in space, and then he suffered through his dusting. So the PTSD would be real, and he might be a little hesitant to embrace it again.
At least my theory is in there, kind of.
Why it's not working, part of his arc for this movie is realizing he needs to rely on it. In a more relatable sense, he needs to rely on his instincts and stop second-guessing everything. He's so torn between being a normal kid and being Spider-Man, he never fully gave into it. But it was the only way to beat Mysterio. There's an allegory in here for our cultural climate about misinformation and political bubbles and deception. I can't say close your eyes and feel it out is the best solution, but if you want to say that Peter's self-doubt led to him making some wrong turns and he needed to trust his gut / do his own research and draw his own conclusions while not getting pulled away by the lies surrounding him, yeah, sure. But for Peter, the lesson is actually, you don't have to be perfect. We forget that as well as Peter knew Tony, he didn't know Tony like we knew Tony. He probably didn't know about Tony's PTSD, his accidental villain creation, his His other accidental villain creation, actually these other villain creations too, or that he once tried to murder his buddy's BFF because he found out that BFF killed his parents. Tony is the father figure that probably rightfully even maybe hid all that stuff from Peter and asked him to be better. So hearing from Happy that Tony had his own self-doubt and wasn't the epitome of heroism was his first step in realizing he needed to be Spider-Man, not Iron Man 2.0. Speaking of a huge part of this movie that attempts to address fan complaints, they really lean into the Iron Man 2.0 angle that lots of people have disliked from day one. But this story does a lot to allow Peter to be his own type of hero. Honestly, coming into Far From Home, it was a concern that they'd really struggle to come up with a plausible reason for Peter to drop the Stark tech, and he does keep some of it, but Peter builds his suit when the Iron Spider is right there as an option. The threat didn't call for it, and mobility, stealth, and speed was going to be much more important. But that's only surface level. The entire movie is about whether he can or even wants to live up to Tony. He builds a much more Peter Spider-Man suit as acceptance that he doesn't have to be Tony, that it's okay for him to not be Iron Man. It's a spin on the Uncle Ben story that I would like simply because it's different enough from the other versions, but it also comes down to the same message. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. And don't be mistaken, Peter saves the world, but he does it in his own way. They manage to honor Peter's roots and Tony's impact on his life while allowing Peter to move forward in his own way. Like I said earlier, I'm glad that Far From Home didn't dwell on the sorrow from Endgame and try to pretend like these kids would care as much as any of us or have any idea how to properly tribute him. That's what Endgame was for. As far as Jason Iannello is concerned, a billionaire he'd maybe heard of used some magic glove to save half of life in the universe. I'm not saying people didn't know Iron Man, and I'm not saying it wouldn't be a big deal, but the majority of the universe didn't know Tony. So while they're going to be thankful to be unblipped or to get their loved ones back, they're probably not going to shed any tears for Tony. These murals are about continuing to elevate Tony to mythic status. They only affect us because we know Tony personally. We, the audience, probably knew Tony better than the majority of his teammates, so we actually have the best chance of understanding what Peter is going through. I mentioned in my homecoming video that one of my favorite things about this take on Spider-Man is not just the smaller story, but that it's the best look at the MCU from our fragile human perspective. Again, it elevates the main Avengers to mythic status while still not making us feel like it's some filler B story. This incarnation of Spider-Man continues to prove that we're happy to switch back and forth between huge sprawling stories and more intimate ones. And as usual, the movie is packed with fun details, like Pysduck. The scene where Peter is on top of Cap's shield, fallen statues of Cap and Iron Man can be seen off to the side. Do you think the Tahiti reference was just for fun? I don't know. Peter uses a VPN just like MJ told him to. Betty wants to move on to a new phase. All these Italian names on the side of the building are references to Spider-Man writers. Every piece of art in the classroom ties into the movie. The false mirror has been interpreted as denying human existence, like a hologram. Georgia O'Keeffe's Jimson weed is a plant that has been used as a hallucinogen. And Tennyson's version of the Lady of Shalott is about a lady who can't see the outside world and had to view it through a mirror. Almost every license plate in this movie is a reference to a comic number and year that's either a nod to things like Nick Fury / Spider-Man Team Up from 1979, or misdirection like comics where Sandman, Hydro Man, Cyclone, or Molten Man appeared, all playing into Mysterio's misdirection. And I'm sure there's more you'll find watching it again. Excited to see where this franchise ends up, and I hope Sony and Disney can keep it an amicable relationship and make the best decisions for the characters.
I really hope so.
For those interested, I'm doing a 20% off sale on merch.
Good for him. 20% off. Go buy some stuff. I think, is that anything?
New.
Nope, that was nothing. Of importance, I think, question mark? Nope. Okay. Man, I forgot how much I liked the movie. And also, I'm glad that my little Peter Tingle theory was kind of in there, maybe. Though it was a bit different from what I said it was, but I kind of do like the idea of I like all the theories of why Peter Tingle did not really work out as it's supposed to. And I understand every single one of them. They all make sense given what we've seen so far. So yeah. And yeah, like he said, I really wanted Jake Gyllenhaal to be part of the Avengers. Like I knew he was going to be a bad guy even when the movie first coming out. But even still, I was like, during the thing, I was like, yeah, he's going to be a bad guy, but I don't want him to be the bad guy. I want, maybe we could change him and have a redeeming thing or whatever. I kept hoping that until the end, until he revealed the secret. I said, nope, kill him. Maybe he'll come back. I don't even know if he's dead or not, because I can't tell. Like if I ever go like to a site where it shows like his the Marvel movies Wikipedia or whatever, I want his stats to be dead? Question mark. Like no one's sure if he's dead or not. Not even he's sure if he's dead. But we'll find out eventually whenever they make the next Marvel. When is the next Marvel movie coming out? Let me look it up. Marvel movies 2020. Let's see, next one will be okay. So if sorry for my constant coughing, my science is still. So I pulled up Marvel movies 2020. We got Black Widow, The Eternals, the New Mutants. It's gonna be a horror. Morbius, I recognize the name. Venom 2. It looks like Tom Holland will be there. The Kingsman and Gambit. So okay, here's every superhero movie coming out for this foreseeable future. The Birds of Prey, the New Mutants, Black Widow, Wonder Woman 1984. Okay. Morbius, Venom 2, The Eternals, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I'm kind of curious about that one. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse. Yay, finally. The Batman. Okay. Some other Spider-Man thing. This sequel to Suicide Squad? Thor? Yeah, I mean, yeah. Black Panther 2. And that's pretty much all it's on here. So yeah, we have to wait until... Which one's the first? We have to wait until the New Mutants. That'll be the next one, I guess. Well, that's be Fox. So next one will be Black Widow, I think. I don't know. So I don't remember what all Disney owns right now. Heck, I'm just waiting until they decide to buy the White House. That'd be hilarious. Disney for president. Will be ruled by a mouse. Well, I have run out of things to say, and I think you're probably tired of listening to me. So I'm going to go, and I hope you guys enjoyed yourself, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. But until then, see ya.